If you're new to the VIB network, we are a nonprofit 501c3 organization that advocates for veteran businesses nationwide. One of the things that makes us most unique is that we don't charge the veterans to be part of our network, to participate in our business development programs, to participate in our webinars. So we're very excited about that because of our wonderful corporate members that we have here. We're able to offer that to the veteran business community for free. So if you're not part of the VIB directory and you're a veteran business, I would encourage you to join, create a profile today. It is free thanks to these wonderful corporate members. It's VIBnetwork.org. Also want to let you know we do have a program that we have just recently launched, and we're looking for proteges, for veteran proteges for our Bravo program. So this is a corporate mentor veteran business protege program. It's a 6-month program. It's in depth. It gets you one-on-one and helps you develop those relationships with corporations and learn from their experience of how to work with more corporations and what their advice can be to help your business grow to that next level. And the last thing I want to mention is right here we have our VIB National Conference happening in San Diego on November 12th and 13th. It's an amazing event. We'll have a lot of corporation, government agencies, and veteran businesses. It's very engaging if you've never been. And this year, if you notice, we have Petco Park here. We're doing a Field of Dreams award dinner at Petco Park. So we encourage you to come and attend and participate in our national conference and just really engage more with the veteran business community. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and have the panelists introduce themselves, their business, and what they do, and then we'll go dive deep into these questions. So William, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, everybody. And I know, Rebecca, you talked about our corporate membership, but really kudos to you and your leadership for this organization because you make this place run. So I know a lot of the times, we talk about our corporate members, but really the people behind the whole brains and the whole operations, including yourself and your team, that's what makes all of us kind of succeed together. So thank you for that. Just real quick, my name is William Choi. I'm the Director of Supply Diversity at the New York Power Authority. I'm really passionate about developing communities, right? As a first-generation American, I've known what investment looks like in neighborhoods, especially throughout my career in public procurement. As a buyer, as a manager, as a director, I know what role companies can play in shaping our neighborhoods and really facilitating what it means to make a real impact. At NYPA and Canals, I really lead a dynamic team. They do both outreach, contract compliance, as well as small business development programming. And we've spent over $1.8 billion with veteran-owned businesses, diverse businesses, and small businesses all throughout New York State. I talk about 1.8 billion, but we know that's just a scratch on the surface. We have so much more, and we have so much more potential to do more business with veteran-owned businesses. And we know we need to do that, right? It's not only a good practice, it's really our obligation to people who have served our nation to make sure that they're incorporated into our procurement opportunities because we work for the people and we work for the state, right? A little bit about my company, or the company that I work for, that I'm really proud to work for. I work for the New York Power Authority. It is the largest state-owned public utility company in the nation. You know what? We were created by FDR in 1931. Our sole job is to provide low-cost, affordable electricity to New York State. So I always like to kind of joke. Sometimes they don't find it funny, but listen, we have shareholders too. And our shareholders are the residents of New York State. They're the ones who we work for. They're the ones who are benefiting from the work that we're doing to make sure that our community has access to electricity at a very low cost and affordable rates, but also that we're doing great projects all across the state. I would say that NYPA, we do a couple of key projects, right? We're in the generation side of electricity distribution. So we own 17 generation facilities all throughout New York State, primarily in hydropower. A couple of years ago, the Governor Kathy Hochul, she, under her leadership, has tasked us with developing renewable projects. So we're about to go out and open a solar farm in the next year or so. Listen, those are all with suppliers. So we really want to make sure our veteran businesses are participating in that. And just last month, Our governor has announced that she wants us to explore nuclear power. So that's another frontier for small businesses, especially for businesses to participate in making sure that we're generating low-cost electricity for all of New York. Another key thing about NYPA is that we actually own a third of all the transmission lines in New York State. We're a huge part of the electric grid. We own most of the transmission lines. We just are wrapping up our Smart Path Connect project, which connects upstate renewable power to downstate. We've also been really working on a very cool project in Long Island, Queens, and also in a little bit of Westchester. It's with our developer. So we're doing a lot of work in the generation and transmission side. We're also really responsible for energy efficiency program all throughout the state of New York. So we help other state agencies, governments, not-for-profits, schools, all to develop energy efficiency practices to install more energy efficient appliances, boilers, water systems, you name it. That's our role. We also operate the New York State Canal System, which I'll talk about a little bit more. It's the largest state-run inland waterway. We are also hosting the World Canal Conference in Buffalo, New York in September of this year. So we have a lot of things going on, a lot of projects, and we need a lot of suppliers to do all this work. Most importantly, as we're doing this work, we are focused on our communities. So 3 of our pillars on our community focus is that we're developing the workforce of the future. We're providing environmental justice initiatives. And most importantly, we're focusing on supply diversity, the role that I'm playing in, the role that I provide the company, the New York Power Authority, and making sure that veteran-owned businesses have a real opportunity to meaningfully, provide back into our electric grid. I'll send that back over to you, Rebecca.
William, wow, you got a lot going on. This is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing everything. I appreciate it. And, if you're here listening, this is a great opportunity to ask some questions and dive a little deeper. And we're going to do that shortly. But I want to move on over to Towanda. If you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and give us a little more details about your organization, about you, we'd love to hear it.
Thank you, Rebecca. And I echo what William said about the VIB network. I can't say enough about Rebecca and her team. They are the wind beneath our wings here at Constellation. Anytime we put out a call for suppliers, Rebecca and her team are there to support us, and we wouldn't be where we are today without your support. So thank you. And thank you for the invitation to participate today. Welcome, everyone. My name is Towanda Livingston. I'm the Director of Supplier Development and Engagement here at Constellation. And let me just give you a little bit about Constellation. Constellation is the #1 clean energy provider in the US and soon the world. We operate in 48 states, Canada, the District of Columbia, and UK. Our major assets are in Maryland, Pennsylvania, New York, Illinois, Texas, and Louisiana. We provide 3/4 of the Fortune 100 with their power needs, and we are strictly a power and generation company, and we have wholesale and retail operations. We are not an EDC, electric distribution company. Excuse me, our fleet contains nuclear, which we call clean energy centers. We have hydroelectric, we have oil, gas, hydrogen, and our renewables are solar and wind. In fact, we are the largest, we own the largest fleet of nuclear clean energy centers in the US, which are safely operated every day. We have about 14,600 employees and growing. And also we are a Fortune 200 company and invest in our stock. You will benefit greatly. I would encourage that as well. And then also I do want to share that Constellation is committed to inclusive and economic impact through our team. Our team consists of myself. We have Patresh Patel, Tracy Wilson, Darian Bryan, and we have a whole 14,600 employees who support us daily in making sure we make our program packs an economic impact. We source over 106 categories. Some of those contracting opportunities we're going to share with you today, as well as what we buy and who is doing the buying and their contacting information. So the fact that we are a private sector organization and we're sharing that information demonstrates our commitment to make sure we maximize the inclusion of businesses like yourself. The clean energy industry is a $1 trillion industry and growing. And Constellation has seen the future of the clean energy transition as we believe we are leading it. And that future, it definitely involves everyone on this call and all the small businesses and certified businesses through the US and around the world. We know we need the right workforce, the right supply chain, and just to be contributors not only to the global market, but also to our local communities so we can derive economic impact where it really matters in our own neighborhoods, in our own backyards, with our own folks, so we can make sure everyone benefits from the clean energy transition. So a little bit about Towanda Livingston. I have 3 decades of experience in economic inclusion. In fact, I'm your economic inclusion evangelist. I have been working in DEI, supplier diversity, EEOC, environmental justice. If it has something to do with the advancement of marginalized communities or individuals, Towanda Livingston was fortunate enough and blessed enough to lead organizations either standing up their programs, transforming their programs, or who are instilling and embedding these programs into just the way they do business. And I'm so happy to and fortunate enough to have a career that spans 3 decades to be able to do this. So I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to share what I know. I would say that my experience, I failed to mention, crosses industries. I worked in public, government, and private sector. And I found out what the informal playbook is of public and government and private sector contracting and the formal. And I'm going to tell everybody about that. And that's what I'm here to do today. So I've been successful with my team to be successful with businesses getting over $1 trillion of spend. That means dollars and cents in pockets and hands and in communities because of the efforts that we led. So my team and I like to say, not only do we help businesses and coach businesses on how to get into government, public, and private sector contracting, we help them to get in, stay in until they win, and winning becomes a habit. So if you haven't heard the good news, Constellation is open for business, and I'm happy to be here.
Woo, this is wonderful. Wow, this really is a powerhouse of speakers here. So thank you so much, Towanda. Thank you for your support. Anytime we're on LinkedIn, and Tawanda's very involved in LinkedIn, she'll always share everything. I really appreciate, our partnership on LinkedIn too. So thank you so much. And then our final panelist, and not last, but we'd like to introduce you to Lawrence Wooten of American Water. Just appreciate Lawrence being here. We actually had an event in Camden at American Water. They've been amazing supporters of the VIB network. And so Lawrence, if you want to go ahead and take it away, introduce yourself, I'd appreciate it.
Sure. Thank you, Rebecca. Appreciate the opportunity to be here today and to talk to this esteemed organization. Veteran in Business is a leader in this space in terms of support of veteran-owned businesses, and I have seen it firsthand. So appreciate all that your team does in advocating for veteran-owned businesses. As Rebecca mentioned, I am Lawrence Wooten, Larry Wooten, Director of Supplier Diversity for American Water. I always deem American Water, we're the utility that you ingest. We're the only utility that you actually ingest. We're the largest publicly traded water utility in the country, headquartered in Camden, New Jersey, as Rebecca mentioned, but our footprint is across the country. We have facilities in 48 states. We also support the federal government. We manage water systems on 17 military installations today. We don't own those systems. We manage it for the federal government. All other systems, as far as our regulated business, we own those particular systems in all of the 48 states around the country. Again, we are actually a water utility. A number of times folks will say, so what does American Water do? Do you guys have bottled water? What is it you do? No, we are an actual water utility. Usually you get your water from your municipality, your city, or whatever. American Water basically will go into a city or a region, and it's usually a distressed system that they are looking to acquire. It's a system that has been failing. The residents aren't happy about the current product that they're receiving. American Water will go into leadership of those particular cities and say, hey, you need a large capital investment in your system to bring it up to par. Usually these cities don't have the funding in order to do it. So we'll purchase that system. We'll acquire that system. We invest in the system. On average, we spend upwards of $10 million when we take over a system. And basically, we put in the infrastructure to ensure that people are getting clean drinking water. And then those are now our customers. Now, a lot of times people say, well, now I've got a private entity which is, managing my water, so my rates are going to go up. Not true, because we are regulated by state governments. We have to meet their conditions. We cannot just raise rates on folks whenever we deem it necessary. We have to go before the state and justify why we want to raise rates on customers, et cetera. So it's a 100-year-old company. Again, we're the largest in the United States, and we do a fairly good job at it. From a supplier diversity perspective, I joined the company 8 years ago. Similar to Towanda, I've been in supplier diversity for well over 30 years. The bulk of my career was with the company Sikorsky Aircraft, which builds a Black Hawk helicopter. So I managed small business development for them for a long period of time. But here at American Water, I have responsibility for our supplier diversity program. We spend upwards of, on average, about $620 million annually with certified diverse businesses. This does not include small. This is actually certified diverse businesses, including veterans. And again, I am a veteran, so this is important to me. I'm a veteran of the Marine Corps, so it's very important to me. We do a good job in support of veteran-owned businesses. We do a good job in support of all diverse businesses, but we have a lot of runway to go. One thing that we're doing, we have a huge success in development. We just completed a cohort for New Jersey American Water, where we help to develop suppliers that can help us put pipe in the ground every day, because that's what we do. The core business of American Water is putting pipe in the ground every single day, and we're looking for suppliers to help us on that journey of putting pipe in the ground. So construction is a key area of what we do. It is our biggest spend, and that's the area I look to impact in terms of diverse business participation, helping us to put pipe in the ground. Lead line replacement is one of the largest expenditures we will have over the next 5 years. As many of you are probably aware, there's lead in the pipes in the ground. We are looking to replace a number of those pipes. So I'm looking for companies that can help us along that way. Excavation, engineering, operations. Those are all areas that we're looking to expand our diverse participation. And I'm happy to be here, and hopefully I can answer some questions for you. So thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you so much, Larry, and appreciate your service and your extended service in helping the community as well. We really appreciate it. So our first question is going to go out to William. What are the common challenges that companies in the utility industry have when looking to partner with small businesses?
Yeah, and I would really kind of maybe start off the conversation, really, and I'm sure my colleagues can definitely jump in. But for the New York Power Authority, we have a tendency to be very risk averse, right? We're risk averse, so sometimes we'll start packaging projects together to making sure that all of a sudden all these little smaller projects become a mega project, and that mega project unfortunately doesn't have or maybe stretching the financial capacities of a small business. We'll kind of try to address that by making sure that veteran-owned businesses, diverse businesses get an opportunity to participate as a subcontractor. But certainly, I think our risk profile, and it's a struggle. It's a struggle that my team has with our risk team, our insurance team, our project management team. each and every day to talk about, well, what is the right risk level? How big can can we unbundle some of these mega projects into smaller projects so that small businesses have a real fair opportunity to participate, but also making sure that it's not an undue burden on the company, on your power authority, or really on behalf of the state. So really kind of that risk level is certainly a challenge. It's something that we definitely kind of address. And that translates into our procurements, which happens to be kind of maybe our second, really, I would say maybe a barrier almost to entry, right? And really, I'm sure both Larry and Towanda, coming from their public sector experience, they can empathize with me that public procurement is a little bit more bureaucratic at best. It takes a lot. It takes a lot, and it's a little slower than what we had all anticipate. For good reason, right? There's obviously there's a rhyme and a reason for all of that processes to happen. But certainly, all of that may be discouraging to a small business, and we want to make sure that we're kind of in the lockstep with small businesses, making sure that they understand what the project really entails and how they really can understand our procurement process to really best fit, the model and the need at hand.
Fantastic, William. Oh, go ahead,
I
Towanda.
was going to add on to William, and William, you hit it right on the head. Private sector, government, public sector, we are risk averse. And the challenge I see that we have with bringing in the marketplace into what we do is that the marketplace really needs to do their homework on the industry and what our challenges are. So we're being transparent, we're risk averse, right? We also, our supply chain is about driving the cost out of the supply chain, right? So think about it, the number of suppliers you have, the more it's going to cost you to run your supply chain. So we want to drive the cost out of. So cost avoidance, cost savings. So having suppliers that understand what is important to us is a very, very important. So, and also sharing our principles, right? We're not in the business of giving business away. You're going to have to compete for the business. We're not in the business of buying business. We are in the business of winning our business based on our excellence, and we're looking for suppliers to join us on that journey. So we're looking for suppliers that are agile, that have the capacity, that are scalable. We can't do business with everyone, but we can do business with the best, right? So we're looking for suppliers to bring their best, to propose their best to us and deliver their best. Because sometimes we have supplier propose their A team, but deliver us their C team. We're not in that business, right? So we're looking for suppliers with integrity, like I said, scalable, have agility, they can deliver sustainable performance, they have great safety ratings, and also not only just understand our business, but in the business of creating value. Right, we're looking for suppliers that are innovative, that can give us access to new markets, that can help us meet our customer needs with excellence and at a cost point that is beneficial to us all. Some of the other challenges I would say is that suppliers, just basic stuff. When suppliers are seeking to do business with us, their posture is to sell their business. When you're seeking to do business with any company, any customer, I recommend that your posture is to serve and not sell, because if you service well, the sales and your gross revenue, that bottom line will grow, right? So serving means that this is a big fish. I am going to invest. There's an acquisition cost that comes with going after the big fish, and you have to be willing to pay that cost. So some of the businesses, small businesses, and other businesses, even large businesses, we recommend they have an acronym we call BELL, right? Making sure you have a good banker, making sure you have a good accountant, making sure you have insurance and bonding, and making sure you got a good attorney. Some suppliers, because they're small, they're owner dependent and they're doing everything. But when you're going after big fish, you must make sure you have the right wraparound services so that when you go after the big fish, when you win and you claim that win, you can sustain that win and go forward with that company and grow with that company. So again, we have our challenges. However, we believe our challenges challenge not only the marketplace, but challenge us. So what we spent with certified businesses in 2024 528 million, 27% of what we do in our strategic sourcing and our supply management, supply spend. That was a great starting line for us, but it's not our finish line. So like what William stated, we are actively seeking out ways to strategically unbundle contracts, but it has to be of value to both of us. It has to be mutually beneficial. Because remember I said, we're not in the business of giving away business, because at the end of the day, I know people like to say that at the end of the day, we have responsibilities not only to the customers we serve, but the shareholders who invest in us every day to deliver value in our clean energy, our clean energy transition. So those are some of the challenges I know that I've witnessed, I've seen, we've experienced, not only in the utility industry, but across industry. And I would ask that if you really want to go after utility companies, private, public, or government sector, do your homework, understand what the risks are. Also, let me just say this, and I want you to write this down. Prime money spends just as well as subcontracting money. Subcontractor is lower risk, but you get to learn the customer. Don't tell anybody that secret, but that's the secret. But thank you.
Thank you so much.
Rebecca, could I just add
yes,
a couple of things? For the audience, I would say yes, all utilities specifically are risk averse, and they're risk averse for a reason, because of what we do, right? If you're in gas, if you're in electric, if you're in water, it's a very risk averse endeavor. You, as a looking to do business, as has been mentioned, you have to do your homework, and you have to make sure you're going after the right customer. Not everybody is right to work for American Water. So to Towanda's point, yes, prime money is just as good as working directly for us. So understand that if I don't want to take on that risk, or I can't invest in all of the risk associated with working directly with American Water, look to who our prime contractors are. It's up to us to make sure you understand who our primes are and make those introductions to those primes. Because again, to Tawanda's point, not everybody can work for us. Again, we're an old company. We have a very mature supply chain. So yes, it's going to be very tough. So you have to come to the table ready. You know, you've invested, you understand the risk associated with us, and you're ready to come to work. But for you also, ask those tough questions when you come to the table, and it's imperative and it's incumbent upon us to be able to answer those tough questions. Don't be afraid to ask those questions. If in fact we are risk averse, you don't have the quality score to work with us, ask if there's a development program that we might be starting to get you up to speed from a development perspective. Understand us as a whole, and ask the questions that you need to get into the door. Don't be embarrassed and say, you know what, if I ask this question, I'm going to seem like I'm a weak link or whatever, and they're not going to give me the business. No, we are risk averse, and we're going to hold true to that because of what we do. But if you can ask those questions that will help you, find the resources you need to work with a company like American Water, make sure those questions are on your list to ask when you're meeting with me or you're meeting with my engineering team or operations team. Make sure you ask those questions that you need answered, and where you can get the resources to get that help to avoid the pitfalls that you may find when you're coming to a company like an American Water. So thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Now you, Towanda and Larry, you both mentioned the same thing about doing your research. And this is not a question that we actually put down, but you had mentioned it. So I just want to, if you can go into a little more in depth of where somebody would look to find out more research about your organization, what annual reports, any of that that you can share of where they can start. If this is brand new to them, where would they start to look for that research, and then also how do they approach you, with that initial contact? So if you can do that kind of,
sure.
Larry, let's start with you.
Sure. There's plenty of resources out there. Rebecca, you named one, of course, our annual report. that is where I would suggest you go to. First, go to our website, and all information about American Water is public information. We are out there on every social media platform. I'm not on Facebook. I'm not on Instagram, but I am on LinkedIn. And again, I'm an old guy. I'm old. I haven't gotten into Facebook and all of that. But there are plenty of resources to find out what we do, how we do it on a daily basis. Our most senior leaders are on all these platforms. Our communication team makes it a point to post basically daily about us on all of these platforms. So utilize all those resources. You can connect with me at any time, and if you have a question and I don't have an answer, I will get you the answer. I also tell folks that American Water is a fairly large company. We're not as large as, say, Constellation and et cetera, but we're a fairly large company. There's people across this country that work for American Water. If you know of an engineering colleague, if you know of an operations colleague, and you're looking to get in the door, I encourage you to reach out to them and ask them any questions that you may have about American Water. But again, utilize the public information that is out there. Utilize all of the social media. You can ask me and I will get answers for you. And again, I have a saying, it's a shame, but you have to know us better than we know ourselves, right? It's just the way it is. And when you come to the table, and all of you have heard this before, and Towanda mentioned it, it's about a value proposition. What is the value that you're going to bring? Our folks are looking to solve problems every single day. Every day they're trying to solve those problems. Understand what those problems are, and when you come to the table, talk about those problems and how you can help us solve them. It isn't necessarily about what you, and I think Towanda did it better than me articulating this, but what you sell. It's really about serving. How can you serve us to solve that difficult problem that we have in Illinois, and where Rebecca is in California? There's a water shortage in California, right? California American Water is coming up with new ways of providing water to the residents of California right now. We're even thinking about utilizing salt water in terms of solving the problems for the water shortages in California. See, I just gave you a tidbit right there, right? Those are the things that we're trying to solve. How can you help us solve those problems? So hopefully I addressed that.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Larry. And Towanda, did you want to?
Yes, I echo everything that Larry stated. When you're trying to do your homework, when you're trying to acquire a customer, retain a customer, or recover a customer, you have to do your homework on the customer. So absolutely follow their handles on social media, look at their posts, but go to their website, look at their corporate sustainability report, find out what their core values are. Find out what their philanthropy efforts are. You never know where you're going to meet us at a community event, and that's a great way is you're into an organization. Find out what's important to us. What are we investing in? Again, everything you would need to know about Constellation, believe it or not, is on our website. And if you want to, build a relationship with us, make sure you're on our social handles. Join associations where we are. You're going to go where your customer is, right? So what associations are pointing to us? Guess what's on our website? Our associations. Who are we associated with? Who are we supporting? You want to show up there so you can also, that's a good way to build a relationship with an organization that's important to us, but also with Constellation. And also in your industry networks, right? You have industry specific networks that you're in. Whether you're an engineering firm, you're an electrician, you're a part of a union, find out who knows or have done work with your intended customer so you can get some inside scoop so they can spill the tea on how to do business with that particular customer. Again, I can't say enough that the best information you're going to get about Constellation is not only on our website, but find out what our customers are saying about us. And if you don't belong to dive.com, Dive is a very, very good industry-specific publication that puts out information every day related to various areas, whether you could be a part of the supply chain dive, the utilities dive, you want to be a part of the waste dive. whatever your industry is, there's a dive for you, and that you can definitely register for that. So you can find out industry specific information. What is FERC doing? Because what FERC does is going to impact the utility industry. And you think it's only going to impact the electric industry? Let me tell you, you're wrong, because electricity is involved in generating gas, providing water, and all the other life giving and life sustaining resources. Electricity is involved in that. Find out what's happening with these data centers, right? There's a lot of work that's going to be going into providing big organizations that are interested in AI technology and things of that nature. They need energy to make those run. So that's why you keep on hearing this information about data center. Find out who they are, where they're planning on building those, and guess what they're going to need? They're going to need general contractors. They're going to need electricians. They're going to need so many other resources, just like any other infrastructure you want to build above ground. And then they're going to also leave transmission lines, but that's a different story. But I'm just stating that there's work to be done, right? So if you're not following Constellation, you know that we have recommissioned 3 Mile Island, which is the Chris Crane Clean Energy Center. That's jobs, the workforce that's needed. The work is going on with contractors that need it. And guess who's involved? Small businesses like yourself. So get involved. There's work coming out every day in reference to standing up and getting that plant, our clean energy center up and running. And you could be a part of that, either working there as an employee or being a supplier of that. So what you stated also, Rebecca, I just wanted to also share is that when you're trying to recruit or retain or recover customers, here's especially a new customer, there are 3 barriers you're going to have to overcome: visibility, accessibility, and incumbency syndrome. So visibility is where you're going to get registered, right? So you get registered, and some people stop there. And I'm saying that registration and the fact that you're certified is only your license to hunt, but that's not enough to get you on the hunting field. You must get accessibility. So tapping in, like Larry stated, tapping into someone like our office or someone who works for the company to get you into either the purse strings that are purchasing the particular project, or the category manager or buyer is going to be very, very important. So that introduction is very, very important, because that gets you accessibility. So you can start to build relationships with those individuals that are close to the project, and more importantly, close to the prime suppliers that are going to be on the project. Because in private sector, we do not publicize on a solicitation board all of our opportunities. You have to be invited in the room. And the way you're invited in the room is that you're at the top of mind, and you're at the tip of tongue or the tip of finger where they can invite you to engage. So accessibility is very important. Incumbency syndrome. We're in the nuclear industry, the clean energy industry, I should say, 100 years in the making. So you can imagine the incumbents that are in there in that space. But let me just tell you about incumbents. They get complacent, they get comfortable, right? And they get ripe to be knocked out of the box. But you have to make a decision as to whether I am going to knock that incumbent out of the box, or I'm going to join that incumbent as a subcontractor, so I can then understand the ultimate customer that I want to do business with. So also, I would say is that what we get in our industry, and I'm pretty sure this happens because I've been across industry, is that when dealing business with small businesses and certified businesses, what I see in the emails that they send and how they approach us, they lead with their certification. I'm telling you to stop that. Stop it in its tracks right now. Lead with your capabilities, close with your certification, because your certification is only of value if that customer honors and needs that certification. So by going to the websites of organizations, you can find out what certifications matter to them, or if supplier diversity or small business matters to them, right? But you're not going to get the business because you're certified. You're going to have to win the business and compete the business. And what you want to do when you're approaching the customer is tell them the value that you're going to bring to them, how you're going to create value. Because guess what we want? We want to outpace the competition, right? Even if folks don't have competition, they want to be doing business with suppliers Remember I told you that cost of supplier relationship? They want to do business with suppliers that are sustainable because it's costly to manage smaller transactional suppliers. So again, lead with your capabilities, close with your certification, be patiently persistent. Yeah, give us some grace, right? We're thousands of suppliers are trying to access us, right? And I know it becomes frustrating when you can't get a hold of the person and things of that nature, but trust and believe me that we are advocating in contract rooms on projects to make sure there is room in that contract for a supplier, while we're also meeting and coaching one-on-one sometimes with our suppliers to get them ready to engage in business with us. So give us some grace, but be patiently persistent. The other thing I notice is that a lot of cold emails, right? So let me just tell you, one of the things to get over cold emails is the subject line. The subject line in your emails is so very important. And let me just tell you a tip on how you can use it to gain visibility and accessibility, right? Lead with a value statement. Lead with how you help Pepco, Dominion Energy. Constellation, this is what Dominion Energy says about us. American Water, here's what WSSC Water said about us and their project when we did their underground and helped them with their underground infrastructure. And we were able to save them time, cost, and we have the highest safety rating. And, so you lead with that in your subject line. You got to lead with something that's going to catch a person's eye, because guess what? It means something to the problem or issue we're trying to solve. And if you lead with that, then you're more likely to get a call back or a meeting with folks, as opposed to what I see in the subject line. We are a veteran-owned business. We're a woman-owned business. That's great. But guess what? We have 99 problems, but getting a supplier is not one, right? So again, I know I'm quoting because I'm a hip hop head, but still, I just want to share with you, you got to learn ways to set yourself apart. Lead with value statements. And then when I do introduce, because we do a lot of introductions to our internal stakeholders, to our suppliers, the first thing I said to them, I'm going to stop here. The first thing I said, so once I send this email, you're going to be CC'd on this email. You don't wait for them to respond. The next email should be from you, do your pleasantries and say, here's a testimonial from a company that we will recognize. And we were able to increase their customer satisfaction by 98%. We reduced their cost by 50%. Guess what? Guess what's going to happen? You're going to get a meeting with that category manager and that buyer, because they want you to bring that value to them. So that gives us a better marketplace position, better brand equity, and better social equity. I'll stop there. I'm sorry.
No problem. That was all great information. And it's definitely something that I'm going to use as well, because by putting that on the subject line, people know that you had experience already. So you're kind of like pre-selling yourself before you even get to the letter. So it's great. William, do you want to add anything else to this topic?
No, I really think it's well covered by Towanda. I think overall it is important, right? I think what we're all talking about is making sure that you develop your supplier relationship with us, right? But making sure, like Towanda and Larry both mentioned, you got to do it early. You got to do it early, because I'm gonna be honest, if you're trying to start making supplier relationships when we have the procurement ready to go and issued, yeah, chances are we already knew who the players were going to be. We knew the people who were going to be in the room. We've already kind of figured out what the marketplace can hold and what the marketplace can almost deliver to us. And that's what the promises we're making to our stakeholders are. So really, as Towanda mentioned, make sure you reach out to us. If we don't get back to you, listen, we're going to get back to you at some point. We're trying to go through all of our suppliers, making sure that we reduce costs as well, but also making sure that we're kind of taking the folks who are delivering a value proposition to us. At the end of the day, we're solving for a problem. We need more electricity. We need more generation. We get it. We got to do it in a, like I mentioned before, risk-averse way. But we know that we want to work with the suppliers. So develop your relationships with us. We hold a lot of outreach events. I think at NYSBDC we do something about like 42 outreach events a year. And we also host a Supplier Diversity Expo. This year, we had 700 people come in person right here in our hometown of Tarrytown, White Plains. It's amazing. And that's an opportunity for you to not only learn about our projects, but we require our prime contractors that hold large contracts to come, to exhibit, to show up, because we want them to meet small businesses, veteran-owned businesses, diverse businesses as well. So it's really all about developing a supplier relationship with us. We have a whole team that manages supplier relationships, supplier performance. We want to get to know you, but we want to get to know the people who are really going to help us solve a very critical problem.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, William. This is great. It's great information. We're going to just jump a little ahead because we're actually just about 10 minutes away from time. So I'm going to ask, and Towanda kind of talked about it, like mistakes that people make, small businesses make. So Lawrence, do you want to share anything that you feel that mistakes that suppliers or small business makes when approaching American Water?
Yeah, I think a lot of it has been addressed. Again, it comes back to, again, knowing that we're not a bottled water company, right? Quite honestly, because it comes across a lot of times. So I think the biggest mistake is really not knowing who we are. The one thing that'll turn me off is when someone comes up to me and says, what do you guys do? So, I mean, that tells me you haven't done your homework, and what are you trying to sell to a company that you don't even know what they do, right? So really the biggest mistake that folks make is that they don't actually know who they're approaching in terms of that. And honestly, I'm a very approachable person, so don't be afraid to approach me, but just have a good idea of who we are. Now, with that said, we have to be open also, right? When folks approach us, because I think all of us on this call know and you're right, we get a lot of emails. We get a whole lot of emails. A number of years ago, a supplier diversity professional said to me, how do I get these suppliers to stop calling me? My answer to them was, well, have you given them the answer that they're looking for? Have you responded to them? And we do get a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls or whatever. But when you, as a corporate representative, when you share with a supplier that there might be an opportunity, I'll tell you that supplier is going to reach out to you on a regular basis because they don't want to miss out on that opportunity. So definitely from our aspect, make sure you're giving them the feedback that they need in order to compete. But the biggest mistake is really when you don't understand our business model and what our value proposition is. So know us before you come, know us better than we know ourselves. So that would be my thoughts there.
Right. And William, do you have any?
Certainly I think small businesses, listen, you have to be everywhere, and you have to almost be a jack of your own advocate, sometimes your own lawyer, but it's okay. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to ask for help from us, but it's also okay to make sure you have a good lawyer, a good accountant, a good banker, like Towanda said. You need those people in your corner, lined up, ready to go. Because I think for us, sometimes when we work with small businesses, they didn't understand all of what they were getting into. Maybe they didn't really understand what prevailing wage was. But guess what? We got to follow that no matter what. And then we're in the sticky situation of trying to explain to you what prevailing wage was and hoping that we don't put you out of business. So it's important to understand the contract that you're winning, that you're competing for, and making sure you have a good team. Hey, listen, if you're not the expert, if you're not a banker, it's okay. Go find a good banker. If you don't have the right insurance levels and you don't understand all about insurance, find an insurance agent. Find one. Hopefully you find a veteran-owned insurance agent. I'm going to just put that out there, right? Plug that in. Build your community. Build your community while you're competing for our projects, while you're competing for Constellation, American Water. We're here to work with small businesses, but we got to work with the ones who can operate their own business.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much. And then Larry, I want to ask you this question. what mistakes do corporations make when they're
Yeah.
looking to engage in small business and diverse businesses?
Sure. And I kind of mentioned some of it. And you've got, I'll say
Yes.
this to this group, you've got some great representatives here. These are people who are in this for the right reasons. They're passionate about what they do. So these are the people you want to reach out to and the people you want to meet. Now, there's a number of mistakes that corporations make and people in our roles make. And a lot of those mistakes are they go to different events and they haven't done their homework to understand what their organization is looking for, right? They haven't, when you come to an event, when you're doing outreach, you need to do your homework internally before you go to outreach. So when you're talking to suppliers, you can give them the feedback they need in order to make those connections. We know we can't work with everyone, right? We know when, understand the bidding process for your organization. Understand that bidding process may be 6 months in the future, maybe a year in the future. Be able to share that information with the folks you're meeting with. I think Towanda mentioned it, that we meet regularly with the supply chain teams, right? When you're in those meetings, and I'm talking about us from a corporate perspective, the mistakes we make is not really holding them accountable for what we are doing, right? I say all the time, Larry Wooten has no budget. Larry Wooten buys nothing, right? I buy nothing. So if you're in those meetings, make sure that supplier diversity or small business development is being addressed and is a part of the discussion. Sometimes you have to be that ink in the water and say, hey, what are we doing here? Have we addressed, what is your strategy around diversity? So a lot of mistakes we make is not understanding that and going out to the general public and not being able to articulate and share with them what corporations are truly looking for, what your organization is looking for. So the biggest mistake is we don't do our homework. And I'm just talking in general, that we don't do our homework before we meet with suppliers or advocacy groups. I look at it as a three-legged stool. We have the VIBs, we have the veteran-owned businesses, and we have corporations. We all have a responsibility in this. It's not all on one. It's not all on VIB. It's not all on the suppliers. It's not all on corporations. We all have a responsibility and we have to step up to it. Now, as I said, what I'm hearing here is we've got great representation of the supplier diversity professionals, the supply chain professionals on this call. But we do have some out there which they haven't done their homework internally. And those are the ones that we need to make sure do. So to the veteran-owned businesses out there, ask those tough questions when you're at those events and force people to get you the answers that you need. Because this is your business. This is your livelihood. Ask those questions.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. And Towanda, I'm going to jump around here. You have a lot of projects coming up. I'm gonna ask you, you said you have some priority projects you wanted to mention as well. Do you want to just share some of those?
Yes. So thank you. Thank you very much, Rebecca. Yes, I have shared, you should have a link to a list of the next 12 to 24 month forecast opportunities. That's a handful of our contracting opportunities. These are near term and short term. I would invite you to take a look at that list. It tells you what we're looking for, what type of suppliers we're looking for, and more importantly, who is going to be doing the sourcing on our behalf. Again, we update that list quarterly. The next update will be coming out shortly, but please connect with us and we'll make sure you get that update. On that list is your breakout role with us. I can tell you because we've already vetted our forecast of billions of dollars of contracting opportunities, and we know that these particular contracting opportunities are right for businesses of your size. I would also say that what I do want to share while I have the mic is that one of the mistakes that small businesses make, Rebecca, William, and Larry, is they don't understand the net pay cycle for when they sign up, like when they try to do business with corporations. Now, some net pay cycles you can negotiate, but some you cannot negotiate. So you're going to have a short-term debt solution. That's why having a relationship with a banker or whoever your financier is going to be very important. You need something to cover short-term debt because let me tell you, renting money is expensive when you need it. So you don't want to have to go get it when you need it. You need to make sure you have something in place to do that. And another thing I would say is that in reference to responding to our RFPs, I know some folks they are loving AI technology and they're using AI to write their proposals. Reading is fundamental, right? We see a lot of errors and mistakes that could very well cost you, plus, especially in the public and government sector, because if you make a mistake on your bid in their favor, they want to hold you to it. And we don't want to be in the business of putting business out of business, but if it's favorable to that company, they're going to hold you to that bid, and it's a low bid for them. And so again, reading is fundamental. AI is great, but please don't lean on it 100% when you're responding to proposals, like the ones on our 12 to 24-month list. And then the other list is the list of our categories, what we buy, and who does the buying, and their email address. That is public, and we're giving this to you. We're saying, here are the people that you need to contact. The problem is that folks are doing cold emails and not practicing that strategy we mentioned earlier about putting a value statement, something that you're going to be able to bring to Constellation in the subject line because again, your interaction cannot be supplier focused. It has to be buyer focused. Because if you focus on what's in their pain points and their issues and how you're going to bring value or cut down time so they can get their internal customer what they need in a timely manner, you're going to get a call back. So, but those are the lists that we provided. So thank you for allowing me to share those lists with the folks today.
Thank you so much. So we have just a couple of questions. Do you guys mind staying on just to answer a few questions? Thank you so much. So our first question is from Antonio, and I'm just going to drop right down to the bottom. He's a 52-year-old experience in engineering. His question is for William. He's trying to connect more with primes to do some work. So what he's in engineering, IT, and just wanted to get some advice on what your steps in engaging with the primes and how he can possibly do that.
Sure, I'd say just kind of really quickly, definitely, reach out to myself or my team. We definitely try to connect veteran-owned businesses and diverse businesses with our larger primes. So we can either help facilitate that conversation, or you can go back onto our website at nypa.gov/procurement and actually find who those prime contractors are and their contact information. We do make that public so that you can develop, either you have other relationships that you can kind of mine and tap into so that you can actually identify that. But happy to have a conversation offline as well, just to kind of help you gain that. And I guess to that point, people in this room today, Rebecca, Towanda, and Larry, hey, these are all relationships for us too, right? For myself too. And Towanda, I'm going to hit you up because I need some of your suppliers in the nuclear energy industry. Like, please, I need your help on that one. So certainly, mind all of us and engage with all of us to make sure that you're hitting the right people and getting the right accessibility to our contracts.
Can I just chime in quickly there?
Sure.
I'm sorry, Rebecca.
Yeah, no problem.
That William hit it on an nail. I just want the audience to know that in the public and government sector, which is really good, is that they have public pre-bid and pre-proposal meetings. That's a great place to go to meet primes. When they're, they'll announce them, you can go and you can see who's who. Also, on having worked in the public and government sector, the solicitation board has a social component, whereas though if you can go to a specific solicitation and find out who downloaded that particular solicitation, and you can do some direct marketing and collaboration with them too. Just a couple other tips on how you can know who the primes are. And then as William stated, I just want to echo, is that public and government agency, they publish who their primes are. And in some cases, their bid tabs, if it's an IFB, and you can find out who they are that way and to try to join their teams. But before you do, find out if that solicitation has a subcontracting requirement goal. So when you're doing the marketing, lead with the capabilities and say, oh, by the way, I can help you meet that goal. I'm sorry, I'm gonna stop there.
No, it's great. This is all. This is the great part of having a panel and everybody sharing some information. So we have one last question, Larry, if you don't mind taking this one. What are some of the large expenses your company looks to reduce?
As I mentioned earlier, our biggest expense is construction. If you look at that, that's what we do. We are a utility, but we're a quasi construction company, right? So that is the biggest expenditure. Engineering is a huge expenditure for us also. William mentioned it about bundling contracts. A lot of times we will bundle all aspects of a job under a prime contractor. So we're looking to unbundle some of that to provide opportunity. But construction is the biggest. Engineering and operations, because we're not only a water utility, we're wastewater also. So the operating side of our business is big too, because we do operate water treatment plants and also wastewater plants. So the operating of that is a huge for us also. But construction is the biggest. And understanding the construction industry, we're more local than national when we talk about construction, because you can't be a construction company, a general contractor in New Jersey, and be able to be competitive in the Midwest, right? So a lot of our work is local, right? It's more local than national. So the cost of construction is huge. So if you're looking to do work with American Water and you're a construction company, understand the footprint that you want to work in, because that, as I said, if you're in New Jersey, you're not going to be competitive in Illinois. So understand that. But that is the biggest piece of our business.
Great. Thank you so much, Larry. I think we are pretty much at time. William, do you want to just do a quick goodbye, or how to get in touch with you, or any other information?
Sure. Feel free to reach out to me directly. My email address is william.choi@nypa.gov. And Jenny, if you don't mind putting that in the group chat, that'd be superb. But really appreciate everyone's time today. Really thankful for the VIB network for their leadership, advocacy, and really getting all of us here together in the room today to really support all of our goals, which is really to develop our communities and make sure we're transitioning to the new economy, really making sure it's inclusive and representative of all of us. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, William. Towanda?
Thank you, Rebecca, Larry, and William and Jenny. Thank you for this opportunity to share space and time with everyone. If you don't remember anything Towanda said, please remember Constellation is open for business, because we are. I would say that please reach out to myself and my team at towanda.livingston@constellation.com. We welcome to coach you, to lead you, to guide you, and introduce you to our internal stakeholders as well as our suppliers. I will leave you with this thought, is to collaborate, collaborate, collaborate. If you want to increase your customer base, capacity, capabilities, and cash flow, and turn your competition into your collaborators, collaborate. Collaborate, collaborate, collaborate. Now, let me just tell you something. Not all marriages are created equal. So be careful who your strategic partners are and who you collaborate with. Do your due diligence. But if you want to be bigger than just owner dependent, or bigger than a 4-man or 4-woman operation, right? You're going to need to join with someone to go after the big fish. Co-branding works. And so, and the only way you're going to co-brand is to shed your ego and collaborate, collaborate, collaborate. That's my last thought I would leave with the audience today.
Thank you so much, Towanda. And Larry, any final thoughts?
No, I think it's all been said. I just appreciate the opportunity to participate. My email is lawrence.wooten@amwater.com. And again, reach out to me at any time. American Water is open for business also, and looking to engage with veteran-owned businesses. So thank you, Rebecca. Thank you for your leadership on putting this together.
Thank you. Thank you. And I appreciate all of what you shared. It's so valuable, and people can actually see this again time and time and get those little nuggets of facts and get inspired as well. Again, I'm Rebecca Aguilera-Gardiner, the CEO for Veterans in Business. Join our network. With thanks to these wonderful corporations, we're able to offer our directory, business development programs for free, and attend the VIB conference in November. We hope to see you there. It's super engaging. More talk about construction and utilities and what's happening in that space as well, nationwide.